Okay, so for today, we are going to look at the final two planners in my core lineup, and they are the small business and content workbook planners for me. I do have a small business. It's a genealogy research business. And I do use planners to help me manage that business. So let's get into what they look like for 2025. To start, let me say when I started my journey of updating my planners for 2025, I shared with you that I did some reflection using these daily sheets, and they came in very handy. And I just kind of wrote down how the planner worked for me for 2024, what changes needed to be made in 2025, and what I needed to do to make those changes. And I did that for each planner type. So I will reference these as we go through. So let's get started with the small business planner. So I use a small business and a content planner. You guys have never really seen me use that planner, but so this is the first time seeing these two planners. And I put these together offline because it was a lot of work, just to be honest with you. But I basically had to take what other people call a content planner and separate it into two planners. One planner is this is what I call my small business planner. And I think of this as HR, right? This is all the business details, admin details. That's what this planner is. And then the companion planner to that is my content workbook. So the content workbook is a planner that I would use every week, every day. Whereas the business planner, the HR planner, is a planner that I might reference once a month or, at the beginning of the quarter, something like that. So let's take a flip through of the business planner. Now, this is a Live, Love, Posh cover. I love it. The rings are Happy Planner rings. And as I typically do, I make my own inserts. So I will talk to you a little bit about the inserts as well. So it just starts off with a nameplate page. It goes straight into the calendar page. I love this calendar setup. This is the calendar that I chose to use for 2025 and 2026 in all of my planners. And then, we have this light gray flower design, and we go directly into the business vision board. So this is the annual section. I have this business planner set up not by month or days, but by section, right? So I have a business details section. I have a product development section. I have a finance section, and I have a revenue section. These dividers came out of an older planner, I think a 2023 planner, and I just covered them with white paper on the back so that they could become multifunctional for me. The inserts, as you know, I design these and I print them. And so annual section, I have a business vision board, and then I have my annual goals kind of highlighted by quarter with some key action steps. Some pages I'm not going to show you because it has my 2024 information because I've already set this up for 2025. When 2025 gets here, I'll remove the 2024. But some of this information will transfer, so I didn't want to get rid of the 2024 pages yet. But it starts with the annual goals, and then I use the business model canvas to help me plan my business. And so I have that in here as well. This is not something I created. It's freely available if you just search business model canvas, if you're familiar with using that. If you're not, don't worry about it. But it's just a way that if you're starting up a business, it helps you to break down the things that you need to do and think about your customers and stuff like that. I won't get into my whole business spiel, but I found it helpful as I was starting this business because I started my business the end of the year in October. And I have a genealogy research business. So I'm not talking about planning by Eva content. I tend to just freehand that and do whatever I want on this channel. But this is for my genealogy research business. So yeah. So then I get into business details, and I have a business profile where I put down the key pieces of information about my business, the tags for all my social media, email, domain, all that good stuff. And then I have so that's what this looks like, front and back, just notes on the back. And then I have a customer profile section where I go in and I talk about my customer, and I just give a profile of them, so that, you know, I know who I'm trying to target. And then I have a resources and tools section, an account tracker page, again, the business model canvas, because I use this approach to setting up and planning my business. And again, this is something that's freely available. I just found a blank canvas so that I could fill it out with my own information, shrunk it down to Happy Planner classic size, because of course it's not printed on Happy Planner classic size. If you're going to do that, if you shrink any full letter size image or page, shrink it down to about 83 or 84%, and you'll be able to cut it into Happy Planner classic size. So I have that in here. And then this is my product development section. And I have an annual product development plan, a list of my products and partners. So basically, this is what I plan to develop throughout the year. And then once I develop it and I've made that product live, I will list it here. And I'll keep track of what platform I have it on, the type of product. I have both physical and digital products for my genealogy business, the price, cost, and profit per unit. And that way I can just keep track of that. And then quarterly product development. I tend to do everything in annual, quarterly, monthly steps, right? So if you take something really large in concept and you break it down into smaller steps, it's easier to accomplish. And that is kind of like the general flow of all of my planners. So when it comes to goals and activities and actions, so same with product development. I have an annual, which is basically the products I want to develop. Sometimes that comes to life and sometimes it doesn't. And then I'll break that down into, okay, what actually am I going to develop this quarter? I'm not developing a ton of new products for my genealogy business, but you never know. And so this allows me to track that quarterly. And then along with that, you need to do your product research, right? I do have physical products with my genealogy business. So I need to research manufacturers, printers, labor, all that good stuff. And so I have a product research page. I generally use like each box for like a different vendor, and I write down all the details about that vendor. And that way I could just compare all the different like vendors in one spot, and I have a place for notes. I use this line for the name of the product. And then I have several of those because I have several products I might develop. Who knows? Okay. Once I have determined, yep, I've done my research, or let me backtrack. At the annual, I said, oh, I want to develop this product in April. So I did my research, all that's great. And I found out, which vendor I'm going to go with or how I'm going to develop it. Now I have a product development sheet. And the sheets that I skipped over, I just had some of those filled out, but it was the same. So the product development sheet allows me to say, this is the product I'm going to develop, and these are the specific details now that I've made some decisions. And I also talk about my sales strategy, how I'm going to market and sell that product, and the details here for any notes. So that is the product development page. And I have several of those because I may have several products throughout the year. Okay, so then I get into my finance section. So in my finance section, I have a startup budget, which, it's like your startup budget. I don't have to access that every year because I hopefully don't start it up every year, but I kept that in there from 2024 just as reference. But each year I will do an annual business budget, which is basically just what my annual expenses are, what my monthly expenses are, and what my expected revenue is for the year. And then I also have a bills and expenses so that I can track, I don't track here, but I list my bills and expenses that happen throughout the year. So if it's monthly or quarterly or whatever, I list them here. I have a similar page in my personal budget. And it works well. So this is just like a snapshot of what your bills and expenses are so that you can put them on your monthly business. I have a list of things that I want to buy. I just have one page because I don't buy that much for my business, truthfully, other than like business supplies. But this is not necessarily for like business supplies, like shipping supplies and stuff. I just keep track of that on my monthly budget. This is for like extra things that I need to buy for my business. So like maybe a camera stand or a tripod or something like that. I shouldn't be buying that every month. So I don't need a big page for that, a big section for that. Then I get into my budgeting. I do a quarterly budget so that I can kind of forecast what I'm expecting throughout that quarter. And then I get into a business. This was for December 24th, so I'll show you the blank one. The monthly business budget. This is where I track my budget each month. So I do use this planner monthly, although this is the HR admin planner. I primarily use it to track my budget. And so I just have basically my income or revenue and then fixed expenses, variable expenses. So it looks just like a personal budget. It's just for my business. Keep in mind, I don't do all of my business financial tracking in this planner. I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of stuff for taxes. But this is so that I can have a snapshot as I'm working hands-on with my business throughout the month, right? So this is kind of like a snapshot of it. And so it's set up just like a personal budget. I have a space where I can keep track of my expenses. The only difference is I do this weekly. I keep track of my expenses weekly on my personal budget. Sorry about the focus. Let's see if we can get it a little bit better. Okay, I keep track of my expenses weekly on my personal budget. For my business budget, I just do it monthly. So I have several monthly budgets here. I set this up for a quarter, as I do with most of my planners. So I have enough for 3. And that pretty much wraps up the financial section. Okay, so revenue, right? Revenue is a little bit different than finance. The finance section is like active finances monthly that you're actively tracking, things that you're spending in the operation of your business. Revenue is more of what do you need to do to make a profit, right? And tracking your goals and your progress toward making a profit, hopefully. So that's what this section is. So it starts off with a break-even analysis, and I do this quarterly. How many sales and such do I need to make quarterly to break even? That's basically what this is. And then I have a notes section here, and I have 2, right? So if you want to start a second business or a side hustle or something like that, you can. And then I have an annual business review, which is annual business revenue, which is where I track my revenue for each. Sorry, again, about the focus. This is where I track my revenue for each platform throughout the year. And I do that per product or product type. And then I have an annual profit and loss tracker, which I realize I need to redo this because I have a misspelling here. And this is similar to the business revenue tracker, except this is profit and loss. So it's going to track my profit throughout the year. First, let me say, guys, I have probably printed this one page 10 times trying to get this planner set up. And I've always had some type of mistake, or I changed the labels here, whatever the case may be. This is one reason why I didn't organize this planner on camera. If you just knew how many times I've printed that page. Okay, but we'll keep it moving. So, quarterly revenue projections. This is where for each quarter, I go in and I track the expected revenue, just revenue. In other words, how much do I want to sell? Right? How much do I hope to sell for that quarter? And so I usually put the product name here and then the month here, because there are 3 months in a quarter. And so that's how I do it. And I have enough for different products or different product types. And then I get into my quarterly profit and loss forecast. And so this is where I can, anticipate what I'm going to do for the quarter. Again, that's why it's called a forecast. So I have expected and actual. And then I get into a sales strategy. And I also get into my sales funnel. The sales funnel is actually how do you tend to market and sell your product. That's what a sales funnel is. And there are usually multiple steps in a sales funnel. This isn't a business lesson. This is just, going through the planner and how you use some of these pages. But that's what a sales funnel is, right? It's if you post content first and then you request some type of action, give some type of freebie, and then you send that freebie out and then you ask them to buy something later, right? That's what a sales funnel is. It's the sales process. And so for my genealogy business, I create specific sales funnels for different products. And so that's what this is. It tracks that. And then I just have a notes section. And I use just Happy Planner, various filler paper that I have from various notebooks, from filler paper packs. This is a great way to use up all those stacks of paper that you have. Just put them in the back of a planner as notes section and use them for brainstorming, for scratch paper, whatever the case may be, and you can use up some of your resources. Okay, so this is the business part of my small business planner, which is really a 2-planner system. So this is that admin, business details, HR piece of it. Let's get into the content workbook and talk about the differences. So if I go back to my sheet, my reflection sheet, you see on the business planner, I noted that I needed to keep track of business details and annual planning. And that's really what that is. That other planner is basically an annual planner, and it does have quarterly work that I will do in it. The only piece that I'm going to be updating frequently is the monthly budget. And that's really monthly, right? So I don't need to access that one weekly. This planner, which is my content workbook, is different. This is the planner that I access every week, every day, and I need to have brainstorming and notes. I plan my content schedule. I need lots of note spaces. Last year or this year in 2024, I had these 2 planners combined and it was too much. The planner was too big. I didn't have enough space to write down notes. I was always moving stuff around and changing it. It just didn't serve the purpose. And so that's when I decided to split these planners into 2. One a business details planner and one a workbook content planning. I will say typically what I see in the planner community is people really having only this section, this workbook content planning, and they don't really have that business detail section. And I needed both for my small business because I'm trying to set this up, not necessarily as a side hustle, but as a long-term business. So there's certain things I need to keep track of. So for this content workbook, I needed to review the pages, create revenue pages, which I did, and I put in my business planner, the admin section. and decide on the layout and structure. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is a Happy Planner cover. I bought this from, I think, a deluxe horizontal planner from 2023. I think it came out 2024. I think it came out in the academic planner section, academic planner season, so around July of last year. I don't need academic planners. They tend to run, I think, from June to July or July to June. But I loved this teal cover. So I know you guys don't know this, but teal is one of my brand colors for my genealogy business. So it fits. All right. So it has, this planner has the same cover as the admin cover. I really need to get some, you know, goo off or whatever it's called to clean that up. That's okay. So I go into the cover again. These are planner inserts. All of these are available at my shop. And then I go straight into an affirmation statement and get into my quarterly activity plan. So what you'll notice with this planner, because it's more of a workbook, I do have this set up by month. So I have January, February, and March. I set it up by quarter, just like I do most of my other planners. The dividers are Live, Love, Posh dividers. And they are multi-use because they are front and back. There's not a calendar in the back, which I love that. Now, because this is a workbook and I have my annual planning in my admin planner, I can start this planner at the quarterly level. So I have a quarterly activity page. And again, I still have my 2024 stuff in here. So I would have like my quarterly, this is like my last quarter of 2024 for my business that's in here. And then I go into quarterly goals, right? So 30, 60, 90, and a space for action. And then I get directly into goal planning because, again, that's how I work. Annual, quarterly, break it down, smaller steps. And quarterly actions. So I've broken down my quarterly goals into smaller steps. And now what smaller actions do I need to take throughout the quarter? And this actually could be not even related to goals specifically. Anything that you really need to do for the quarter, you can just kind of write it here. So for example, in my genealogy business, which is what this planner is for, first quarter, I know for a fact that I want to go to a genealogy conference. And so that's probably going to be one of those actions that I put here. All right. That's kind of how you use that. Yeah. And so then that's pretty much all that's in the annual section because I do most of my annual planning in the small business admin type planner. So I'm not going to show you December right now because that is for December 2024. I'm going to walk through what a blank month looks like, and then I'll kind of show you what it looks like filled out. So I just, again, affirmation statement, and I go into my dashboard. You've noticed if you've watched my other setup videos, I love a dashboard layout, a monthly dashboard because it allows me to track my goals. And so that's what this is. This looks very similar to my catch-all planner. I'll show you quickly once I go through this month the differences. But so I created and printed this for the monthly, and then I go into my monthly calendar undated. And then my weekly is set up as what I call a modified dashboard. It has the dashboard on the right side and a quad on the left side because this is the most functional layout for me. Y'all know I love lists. That's how I really manage my time. And so this is just the perfect combination for me. I want to just say really quick about the flowers. The reason some of my planners have a lot more decoration than others is that if it's a very functional planner for me, I like to pre-decorate. That way, if I just need to quickly come in and do content planning and I'm not worried about decorating, I still get that feel of having a beautiful decor, because that makes me feel good. That calms me. That makes me enjoy working in my planner a little bit more. So having some pre-decoration, that's why some of my planners have that and some of them don't. And I went with black and white so that I could add decoration if I wanted to. And you'll see what that looks like in December. But if I don't want to do anything, I still have these beautiful black and white neutral flowers. Okay, so I have 5 weeks in each month. And then I have a notes page. This is a dot grid notes page at the end. And then I have some extra notes pages. These extra notes pages I printed, but I will not print these anymore. I just had these left over from 2024 and I included them. I am using my filler paper that I've bought on clearance throughout the year. Some of my notebook paper from notebooks that I've bought on clearance throughout the year as notes paper, and that way I can use my supplies. And that's really scratch paper anyway, so there's no need for me to waste paper I've bought. Because I use 32-pound paper to print my inserts, and that's pretty expensive paper. So I don't need to print a notes page when I have that from what I've bought at these various shops on clearance. But I had this left over and I wasn't going to throw it away. Okay, so that's what that looks like for each month. And then at the end, I have my sections that are focused on a specific activity. So this is my content section, right? I have a great quote here. Creativity is intelligence having fun. And I get into really the workbook part of this. I'm keeping track of my social statistics. I have a content strategy plan, which I do this quarterly. And this is just, you know, what type of content am I going to create? How am I going to film it? Those types of things. And then I have a quarterly topic tracker where I write down all the topics I think I might cover during that quarter or I want to cover during that quarter. I plan out my quarterly videos. So this would be January, February, and March. And then I'll plan out what video I'll do during that week. I do the same thing for my blog. Keep in mind, this is not for Planning by Eva. This is for my genealogy business. I've said before, my Planning by Eve, I just do, you know, seat of my pants. It's just something I really, really enjoy. I enjoy talking about planning. And so I don't do as much planning around. I don't plan as much content around that. I just kind of do what comes to me. I don't know if that's good, bad, or if it'll change in the future or whatever. Okay, but this is kind of what that looks like filled out. So this was Q4 2024 for my genealogy business. I had a ton of topics. I didn't get to most of these. That's okay. I'll just roll them over to 2025 first quarter. This is what the quarterly video looks like planned out. I did most of these videos, I have to say, even if I didn't do them in the exact order that I have them written here. And you notice I really didn't start in October because I said I launched my business in October. So I really didn't get to organize like planned videos until November and December. Same thing with my quarterly blog planning. I am way behind on blogs. I got to get caught up on that. But that's what that looks like filled out. Then I have video scripting pages. So that if I need to script a video, most of my videos are unscripted. Most of my videos are unscripted. So, you know, I don't use these a lot, but if I wanted to do some video scripting, the space is here. Same for my blog scripting. Now, these are not unscripted. Obviously, I'm writing these, but yeah, I only do one blog post a month. So I only have 2 or 3 in here for the quarter. Then I have action plans. And this is just a to-do list. I usually do this for a project or something I'm actively working on. So I'll put the title of the project here and just have a quick task list. And this is very helpful. And these are tasks obviously related specifically to the business. So I have several of these in here. And so this is where the workbook piece of it comes in, right? this is actively working through your content and planning content and stuff like that. And so now you can kind of see why there was a need for two different planners. Okay, same with the notes that I said earlier. And this is what I mean by using some of those notes pages from notebooks. This is just extra notes pages from a Happy Planner notebook, and I'm just popping them in the back of this section because I need to use them up. All right, so marketing. As you see, same strategy, annual marketing strategy. I get into my marketing at a glance, and then quarterly marketing plan. The reason I put my annuals in here for marketing is that with any business, especially as you're launching a business, marketing is probably the most critical thing that you need to do. And it's one of the most expensive. So I am putting this in my workbook because I need to stay on top of it. And I'm horrible at marketing, you guys. That's probably the thing that I am worst at. So I need to look at this every week to remind myself of what I need to do. So that's why I put the annual in this workbook. But it works the same way. I break it down into quarterly steps and then quarterly actions. This is kind of what it looks like filled out for the quarter, October, November, December. This was last quarter. It will come out as I transition into 2025. This is what this actions sheet looks like filled out. And that's pretty much it. So I have a couple of extras pages. I have a content map, and this content map is just a one-page calendar. I'm trying to see if I can work on this focus a little bit. Sorry about that. This is the one-page calendar. I don't use these a lot, but you never know. You might need to use it one day. And then I just have on the back of that a quad. So for pre-planning, this is great. It's not really enough space for me personally, but it does help me with pre-planning sometimes. And then I have several of these, enough for the whole quarter. And then I do have projects and tasks. This is like a daily sheet, and I do print these because I like this particular layout versus the Happy Planner Daily. I use the Happy Planner Daily for project sheets, but only because I bought them and I'm going to use them. But I actually like the one I designed better, so I do include those in here. Same thing here. I just use these for project and tasks. So this would be like, let's say I had a project to update my content planner. I would list all the details here of what I needed to do. And then that's how I use these sheets. And I just have several different versions of these. And then in the back, more extra notes sheets from Happy Planner filler paper and Happy Planner notes. And that, guys, is pretty much it. And I'm just going to show you quickly what this looks like monthly if I fill this out. So I still have my December in here because December 2024 is not over yet as I'm filming this. And this is just how I do my monthly goals. You see, sometimes I just do a little bit of decoration because this is just the content planner. I don't have a ton of decoration, but I do like to decorate the monthly if I can. So I have a little bit there. And when I get into the weeks, same, I have a little content decoration. And this is what I meant by having the black neutral flowers. It kind of goes with any decor. And so if I want to decorate more, I can. And if I don't want to decorate at all, I don't have to. But that's what this looks like kind of when I use the planner throughout the month. So you can do as much decoration as you want. And as always, these inserts are available on my shop. So feel free to grab one if you're interested. I will show you quickly what the comparison between like using this insert from my business planner and what it looks like in my personal, because I make both of these inserts and they're similar. But let's look at the difference. So on my dashboard in the monthly, you'll notice on my business planner, this section with the dot grid, I have labeled as marketing. And in my personal planner, my catch-all, I don't have a label here, so that I can use it however I want. So that's one difference. The other difference is in my business planner, you'll see on the goals section, so the second part of the dashboard, I have space for 4 big goals and action steps, because it's a work planner, it's a content planner, right? And on the catch-all, very similar layout, but I only have space for 2, and then I replaced the bottom 2 with habit trackers for the month. So that's really the difference. Just wanted to point that out because as I work to design these, you know, functionality is really important to me, and keeping things consistent is a part of functionality for me. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Okay, so that is it for the 2 business planners, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was long, but we went through 2 planners, and these are the final 2 core planners for my lineup for 2025. I appreciate the time, and happy planning to you guys.